Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. All right. I happened to stumble upon an article here and read the headline and thought, you know what? I'm going to share it. And the reason why is because it's about active duty service and things going on in the Army and a couple different things. We all may know, well, not all of us, but a big portion of us, right, as a veteran community, either still kind of care what's going on in the military. We know people that are still in. We may have loved ones that are currently serving. And regardless of what branch it is, when one branch does something, there might be collateral effects, right, where other branches start to emulate. So just thought I'd share this with you. It's just good to be in the know, right? And it's snippets. It's little small pieces of information that help round us out so we know what's going on. All right, so hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. So the headline here is the Army suddenly and chaotically told hundreds of soldiers they have to be recruiters immediately. That's kind of interesting. So now I did a story on this a while back on the new, I guess, push for a full-time MOS that never changes for recruiter. Instead of being a kind of a temporary MOS, it would be like a full-time, like that's just your job forever. You can sign up to become a recruiter. So let's see what's going on with this. I'm sure that it has to do with the same ideas with recruiting numbers and so forth. So let's go ahead and read through it. Without warning, hundreds of non-commissioned officers were told via email to report to the recruiting school at Fort Knox, Kentucky in less than a week, with hundreds more set to start. Wow. So if you didn't want to do that, I don't know. So far, it just sounds like you're being voluntold, right? Which isn't nothing new, but it's pretty interesting. So in less than a week, with hundreds more set to start at the school in December. A sudden, unexpected move by the Army as the service scrambles to boost its recruiting force by 800 by the end of the year. The orders came after a breakdown in how the Army tracks how many recruiters it has coming through the pipeline, along with retention of existing ones, according to Lieutenant General Douglas Stitt, the Army's top personnel officer. The sudden depletion of recruiters caught Army planners flat-footed, with officials unable to provide a clear explanation as to what went wrong. Now, NCOs will likely have to move during the holiday season and in the middle of the school year, sowing chaos for families. Given the 6-day, God, how horrible. Given the 6-day heads up, we have zero time to plan childcare, one non-commissioned officer told military.com, on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to talk to the media. We can barely find and afford childcare during the week as it is. And now my wife may have to end up quitting her job entirely because it's impossible to find on the weekend. The Army has roughly 10,000 recruiters, but that force has been bleeding troops over the past year. The 800 emergency recruiting students will allow the service to maintain its numbers. Recruiters have reported to military.com in recent months of working longer hours and in some cases getting fired for missing quotas. I want to apologize to the soldiers and families for receiving this last-minute notification. That mistake is mine, Stitt told reporters Wednesday. It's not lost on me, particularly at this point in time on the cusp, Rooster agrees, of the holidays, the impact this has had on our soldiers and NCOs. The mad dash to fill its recruiting ranks has the Army dismissing minimum standards to set soldiers to the school. To send soldiers to the school, including getting rid of the requirements that have passing fitness scores and to be in compliance with body weight standards, according to internal email reviewed by military.com. Some soldiers who were set to be drill sergeants will be reassigned as recruiters. What do you need a drill sergeant for if you don't have any recruits coming through, right? So that kind of almost makes sense. So to incentivize recruiting roles, the Army is offering promotions and sometimes money. The service will promote sergeants going to recruiting school to staff sergeant, assuming they are not flagged for reasons such as failing the fitness test. No questions asked. Sergeant Major Chris Stevens, the top enlisted leader for the personnel policy, told reporters. You know what? Take advantage of it. If you're in, I mean, try to. That's almost worth volunteering for, right? You could skip several years of wait time in your rank. The opportunity will extend to soldiers recently promoted to sergeant with time in service and grade requirements being waived, possibly serving as a fast track on enlisted promotion ladder. The soldier is still expected to complete the advanced leader, so ALS or ALC, the advanced leader course, but it's unclear if that needs to be done within a year as is required with temporary promotions. So they'll probably make an exception on that as well, because they can't, they're going to put somebody in the recruiting role, then pull them out and send them to a school. Probably not. They'll probably hold off. Those who attended recruiting school and attended by February will earn a $5,000 bonus. Current recruiters who extend their recruiting contracts can earn $1,500 per month for 1 year. Staff sergeants who volunteer for recruiting school and recruit 24 applicants in the first year of the job will be promoted to sergeant first class. That incentive is not for the group of soldiers who were forced to go to the school. The services have been struggling with recruiting since the COVID-19 pandemic. The Army has attributed many of its problems to the shallow pool of qualified applicants and a relatively healthy job market. So in other words, the job market was doing good. But see, it's a little bit contradictory. So COVID, when it first started, right, and everybody's freaking out and places were closing and restaurants, whatever, there was a lot of stress and cut back hours and that type of stuff for a lot of hospitality, right? Hospitality type stuff, the hotels, touristy type areas, restaurants, all that stuff. And you would think that that's a younger pool of people, not always, right? But there is a younger pool in there, and you would have been able to. If I was a recruiter, I would have been sitting out in front of restaurants, trying to get the people as they're coming out with their hours cut back and what have you, and try to recruit them because You're not trying to recruit somebody that was making $150,000 a year. You're trying to recruit somebody who might be sick of the restaurant industry, for example. And I use that because my son was in the restaurant business for 5 years prior to joining the Air Force. So they cut back his hours, started to feel some pain, and making that move made sense. So moving on here, the Space Force and Marine Corps hit their recruiting goals last year, but those services are much smaller than the rest and therefore have a lower bar for recruiting quotas. The active duty part of the Army came up 10,000 new recruits short of its goal of 65,000 for the past fiscal year. The Army Reserve is in an even more dire situation, getting only 9,319 new soldiers. Its goal was to recruit 14,000. The Army National Guard fared much better, bringing in 29,457 new soldiers, just shy of its 30,880 goal. That's pretty good. And then that concludes it. So pretty interesting, a lot of changes. Just wanted to share it with you. I hope you have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.